when someone is sharing an experience of their trauma, if they're able to talk about it, because some people can't, some people can be very matter-of-fact about it, some people can just freeze up when they're talking. But I guess if someone does start to talk, or if you've prompted that to happen, is very much that, allowing the space, allowing the person to talk, because it's been a situation for that person who's received the abuse where all power has been taken away. They've not been able to have a voice, they've not been able to speak of their experience because it's either been shut down or slapped down, or they're being made to feel like a terrible person for even having these thoughts or feelings. And there's going to be a lot of turbulent thoughts and feelings that come out that have been kept in. If we're trying to offer advice, or if we're trying to interrupt, like it's like just a normal conversation, we're just adding to it sort of thing, like we're just, back and forth sort of thing, that can be interpreted as almost being dismissive to the person, as like it's a very primal, very important experience that's happened to that person. So by just offering, it's like offhanded advice, oh, you need to get over it, or just go for a walk, or just very sort of like shallow in a way, conversation topical advice sort of thing, the person receiving it might just just nod, and they might not ever open it up again, which was probably a very important opportunity for that person to have their voice, especially when it comes to narcissistic abuse. That's where it can almost be hard for the other person to even cognitively believe that what has happened is possible, because one of the things with receiving narcissistic abuse is the amount of self-doubt, the amount of well, this never happened, when it just literally happened 5 minutes ago, like an argument sort of thing, that they turn your world upside down and make you completely uncertain of yourself, and make you feel like you're the reason this happened. So, and in that, it's very sick manipulation that's going on when someone is actually sharing that experience, and you might know the actual narcissist, for example, and they may have put on a very good front of being like the perfect person, the perfect work person sort of thing, they can do no wrong. and you're thinking, well, these two things don't marry up. And that's because you're probably being manipulated as well by the narcissist. They've shown one side to you, and they're clearly showing another side to other people. It's one of the traits. I saw it all the time with my mother in every relationships and that, where nice to your face there, completely speaking just words of venom about you, and like your weight, your job role, your financials, all these things, all your nitpicky things, they're taking great delight in how they're much better than you. So when someone is actually sharing that experience of this is what was happening, this is what was happening for me, and that they can be almost like, well, it doesn't seem right. I can't actually believe it. People aren't, possible or bad things sort of mentality. It's almost suspending your own beliefs of, what is good and right, what is, if you know the actual narcissist, your belief of them, and actually hearing the other side, hearing this experience that's happening, because normally there's truth to being what's expressed. It may seem like very hard to comprehend truth, but it is actually the truth of the person. It's a truth of a person that's tried to have their identity destroyed, beaten down, made to be subservient, made to be destroyed of all confidence, all these sorts of things, all these if there's physical abuse, like sometimes there's alcoholics that are narcissists that will use physical abuse as well. So there's going to be all of that to be able to hold a space for someone to actually share their experience it's extremely big, not only of the person holding the space, but for the person to actually go, I have a voice. I am actually being heard and validated. It was like when I was arranged for the marriage counsellor, and he's also an MBTI practitioner. I didn't want to leave because it was a Zoom session. I didn't want to leave the room because it's like finally I feel heard and understood, and it felt like almost like a feeling of coming home in a way. That is huge for someone that's never felt safe in their life. Suspending the need to like give just advice that's like superficial, not interrupting, like wanting your turn to speak like it's a hot topic that you really want to gossip about, like not suspending like logic or anything like that. It's like we kind of want to know if someone's actually telling furfies or not, but if someone's sharing an experience of like different chronological and can actually go back to like just repeat what has been happening and present the other side of what's been happening, then I think that's where you start to learn like these things are possible, that there are people out there doing long-term harm. I've had doctors not believe me, I've had psychologists not believe me, and the other side is I'm a male. Males are normally the perpetrators. It's going to be hard to actually sometimes suspend that disbelief to go, well, okay, maybe he was the receiver rather than the giver of abuse. I think the other part is one for the person sharing the story is to know when to share a story, when to share an experience, when to tell what has happened to you, because not all people are receptive. Not all people are capable of being receptive, not because there's any failing in that. It's a traumatic story, so not a lot of people have the skills, experience to understand. That's why having therapy or at least someone that's good at dealing with these emotions. If you're always going blah 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 blah, my experiences, my trauma sort of thing, it's rough to say, but it's not going to be fun to be around that kind of a person. That's where it's like offloading to the right people, be it therapeutic or in a safe situation where people are prepared to hold that space. So you actually get heard and validated, and not offloading it to Joe at the bus stop. What did just pop into mind, which was actually something that was used against me quite a bit, is having the people that when you start to share your experience, just don't use it as ammunition against you. That's the other side of it. So knowing who's your safe people, or knowing who's your safe therapist or whatever sort of thing, because there are situations where you start offloading to people and they're like, ammunition. So yeah, it just re-traumatizes a person. So it's kind of like finding the emotionally mature people in the audience and starting to feel comfortable to share that experience when you feel comfortable. So yeah, I'm down from Eflowtion Support Services, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.